Hi, my name's Carl, and I'm here to talk about the blue rain barrel in my front yard. This is a $100 deal, including $30 shipping. It started out as an olive barrel from Brazil. It's for sale on the internet by Guyam, the people who bring you living arts products and exercise stuff. I learned a lot from this unit. The hoses around the top are for rain overflow. The fittings are sealed with beads of silicone inside. A faucet came which is to be inserted in either of two ports. A tap 18 inches above the ground allows you to fill a pail, while the tap near the bottom allows you to drain the barrel when it's set on a platform. Notice how the cap has several holes to allow the water to enter the barrel, as well as the screen which has been welded to the inside of the lid. Both keep debris and mosquitoes out of the barrel. You can see the bead of silicone caulking inside around the fittings that pass through the barrel wall. The blue barrel holds 63 gallons of water, which is a significant amount of water weighing 524 pounds. Because of the weight, I placed the barrels on a concrete block. First, I dug a shallow trench and added sand to carefully level the blocks with a bubble level at the outset. Such a foundation supports the weight of a full barrel by its outer ring while allowing the barb connectors to extend below the lid for access by water hose connections. I found garden hose grasped the barb so tightly that I feared breaking the water seal while changing connections, so I substituted 3/4 inch radiator hose. The roof of my house, roughly 40 feet by 60 feet, will collect about 500 gallons of water in a half-inch rainfall. This would fill a barrel nicely. We typically get several inches of rain in June. Traverse City gets 13 inches of rain in June. My yard includes berry patches, grapevine, and a garden. I usually water about 20 minutes daily, or about 50 gallons. The water bill rose to $140 for a peak quarterly bill last year. My most recent water bill was only $80. Water bills are increasing 6.8% again this year. Since 6% rates double in 10 years, you can expect water to go to about $280 quarterly within the next 10 years. After all, that would only be $100 on a monthly basis. You can bet that the water bill will continue to climb. The Detroit water system was built in 1905 when wages were 5 cents an hour. Today, 20 hours would be more typical. Since the city of Detroit water system is older than its expected life of 80 or 90 years, it must now be replaced. The increasing water rates are necessary to generate the funds for system replacement. Until quite recently, only operating expenses were charged without regard to a sinking fund. 1 barrel is about enough water to water my yard for a day. The drive on the north side prevents placing any barrels there. However, not to be deterred, I placed a row of barrels on the south side of the house and connected them together. I put 2 barbs in the top of each barrel and inverted them on a cement block. The stiff rim of the barrel rests on the block and the barbs safely project downward. I connected the barrel on the north to the south barrels with a 3/4 inch garden hose. Each white barrel is connected to the barrel on either side in daisy chain fashion. While this arrangement is independent, to allow me to interconnect 10 barrels, I ran into a problem. If I forgot to come out and turn the faucet off on the stake, the water drains out of all the barrels. My solution was to insert a second faucet in the hose between the blue barrel and the string of white barrels. Now I can drain the blue barrel watering while holding the remainder of the barrels in reserve so I can watch TV. I obtained 16 barrels from Coca-Cola free of charge in Detroit near Livernois and I-94. The cost to me was just under $100 to rent a U-Haul and gas it up to fetch the barrels. My first choice of fittings for the barrels was unsuccessful. I used a type of fitting used with lawn sprinklers. I sealed the fitting with silicone gel, but the seal failed to hold because the fitting lacked a shoulder on the threads side of the fitting. By choosing a nylon $2.17 barb and a plumbing compound to make the seal, I was successful in fitting a 1-inch hole. The 25-cent nut chosen is a plated nut used for 1-inch conduit, since I was unsuccessful in finding a source for a nylon nut. I took down my downspout and cut it with a hacksaw to about 12 inches above the barrel. Using a convenient flexible elbow under $3 allows me to go around the corner of my house. I can easily direct the water away from the barrel if necessary, and also the house. A few sheet metal screws and a small drill bit are needed for this work, as well as a ladder. The city of Ferndale asks that the barrel be covered so that the kids and weeds can't gain entry and to keep the mosquitoes out. It may be necessary to add bleach if the water develops algae growth. Pre-washing the pop syrup barrel with soap is recommended. It's been wet this spring, and I still use city water to apply the liquid fertilizer in my yard. I don't water the lawn since it will recover once the September rains come. A gallon of water weighs 8.33 pounds. 50 gallons of water, 416 pounds. The soda pop companies are required by law to discard plastic syrup barrels of about 59 gallon size after a single use. They must pay for disposal of the barrels unless you rescue one or a few for your rain barrel project. Just call first and arrange an appointment to pick up your own barrels. Expect to make several calls because these workers are busy in the plants. We found barrels on a shipping dock, placed on skids and stacked several layers high. Do not expect manpower help at these prices. Bring your own. The factory guard will give you a general location directions for the dock. Coca-Cola Bottling, David Williams or Tony DeMoss at 313-897-5354, 5942 McGraw Street. That's west of Livernois, just north of I-94. Also, Pepsi Bottling, 1555 Mac, Detroit, Frank Turbowski at 313-833-9241. While I give an economic reason for adding a rain barrel, there's a second advantage. The city of Ferndale is experiencing a buildup of mud in its sewers, in large part due to construction in the area. It then becomes necessary to pay to remove the mud from the sewers, both locally and regionally. My barrels grew dark with dirt captured from the air when spring construction began in earnest. Help yourself, help your community. Add a rain barrel.